Hi. So this is sort of my mission statement, or what I'm trying to do with this channel and why I'm sharing these ideas with you. Mostly the reason I'm sharing these ideas is to sort of share a proof of concept for a practice or an insight or an activity that I discovered, and I think it's the most important discovery in my lifetime, at very least in a very long time. And that discovery is how water modulates human consciousness. And so I've used water to enhance my thinking and enhance my athleticism and stuff. I did this starting at 30 or 40 or what have you, completely delusional my entire life. Yeah, don't know how to say it much beyond that. Just whatever. Just could not figure it out, right? Health problems, joint pain, exercise that didn't seem to go anywhere, like hypocrisy, just, whatever, all those things that are like wrong with the consciousness. Those are all fundamentally like movements of the mind, right? It's these agitation, these up and downs of the mind. And so you can try and calm them down, like with drugs. Like sometimes you can use a drug or a paralytic or a poison or a toxin to shut down some of those issues or those anxieties or those activities, and you'll feel good, right? Or you can go on vacation and some of that stuff can shut down and you'll feel good. You'll see things better. You can learn how to meditate and some of that stuff will shut down and you'll feel good and you'll see things better. Right, so you can use water pressure. Water pressure is that stillness. And so if you breathe underwater through a snorkel, especially through the nose, just completely immersed in the water, it amplifies and completes and totalizes your focus. You are fully immersed in the activity that you're doing because the activity that you are doing is the immersion. And you get to take several breaths like that, right? As many breaths as you want because you have a snorkel and you're pressing back against the water. So what this does is it basically amplifies whatever your kind of innate understanding is of any psychosomatic technology. So any meditative technique, any focus type, any physical thing. It's gonna amplify that, similar to how a simple machine amplifies your ability in this world. Like how a lens amplifies your eyesight, how a crowbar or a lever amplifies your strength. Right, the nature of water is such that it provides that sort of leverage or that simple machine to the mind. So radical enhancement of introspective ability. Like the difference between radical enhancement, not in difference of type, but just in difference of I have a tool now. So what's the difference between you digging with your hands versus digging with a shovel? It's that big of a difference. What's the difference between you punching and you swinging a sword? It's that big of a difference. When you do that, like when you pick up a sword or a shovel, are you having like a psychedelic experience? Like, no. So actual mental tool use that is as profound as a shovel, but for the mind, is water. And so using that, I've discovered everything. So I make all these YouTube videos and it's like, some of it may seem abstract, but if you dig into it, it's a very detailed, coherent account that is completely in resonance with all the information I can find, right? So I'll make videos showing how that works, and it's like, yeah, my molecular biology works so well that allows me to have the athleticism that I'm displaying, right? I don't have time to work out. I don't train. Nobody coaches me. I literally just work myself to the bone, right? And but because of my understanding, I have this baseline comical level of athleticism that you would normally would say is like, oh, that looks like talent or something. It's the ability to decide to be smooth. And so you can film that and go look at my tricks and stuff, but I started late and I'm old, and it's like I can skateboard a little bit, but I can do everything a little bit. I'm really good at just about everything I do. Like really, really good for a beginner, or really, really good for if I had time and whatever, could learn anything to the highest degree possible. And that's why I think this is like a super useful thing to get. Like if you're in the training phase of your life, or you know somebody who is, this method of work, the more talented people out there, if they integrated what I'm doing, they should probably be able to fly. Like if you combined the top tier athleticism with the psychic amplification possible with water, the correct type of water training, basically people that are not doing water training, especially fully submersive snorkeled water training, it's absurd. The degree to which they are limiting themselves is beyond belief, because it puts all of you in suspension. You can be in any posture, and your movements are constantly being informed by the pressure of silence. So it just calms down all the anxiety or whatever, and you're left just with what's there, which is normally how it works when you focus. But with the water, it's just that's there. It's there. You can get levels of focus, levels of immersion that normally would require the most insane circumstance to get that much energy to bear down on your breath. So with water, you can get relatively insane levels of metabolic initiation, breath initiation, in terms of applying pressure to yourself, applying a totalized pressure to yourself. Which is what people are doing when they learn how to exercise or meditate or whatever. They are learning how to apply this type of pressure to themselves. So that takes a certain amount of strength or allowing, or a certain amount of your attention has to condense and pool until it actually surrounds you. Right? You normally, to do this without water, you have to sit there and just become so still that your attention just condenses into a fluid medium that you're inside of, right? If you do it with water and you're breathing, this is why freedivers and scuba divers love it so much. But in both of those cases, the scuba diver, they're not pushing back against the water. The pressurized air is. So they're not breathing. Actually, the machine on land is breathing. They're just kind of controlling when they breathe in and out. But the machine is providing almost all the activity of their breath, and then the free diver isn't breathing. And so there's not much. You can study that stuff, but there's a big barrier of entry. It's hard and scary to dive down 20 or 30 meters and hold your breath for over a minute and a half and stuff like that. It's hard and it's scary. I've drowned myself. You can I'm not saying anything happens crazy. This is the same as a shovel or a sword or a stick, right? It's not going to be whoa, oh my gosh, but it's going to be, if you learn how to use it. The first monkey to use the stick was something else. So I'm trying to get somebody to popularize that, steal it, take my idea, because I think if it got out there to any degree whatsoever, safely, I guess it is water, it is a snorkel, it is dangerous, but like I've tested it, it's fine. You can breathe just fine through like 5 or 6 feet of tube for a long time. In fact, you hyperoxygenate. Strangely, I think it's the pressure. Or you can enter into the breathless state very easy as well, even with all the extra trachea. If you just try and get still, and as far as I can tell, the oxygen and the CO2 start to exchange like electricity rather than in and out. So there's like a intentional flow. Since there's a pressure gradient between your lungs, has low oxygen, high oxygen, that basically creates like a voltage or a battery or a current flow from the top of the hose into your lungs, and you don't really have to breathe very much. So you don't have to go in and out, and you can go completely passive in the water and simply exist. And in that state, right, like all the activity, all the noise shuts down. You can see clearly, you can see the actual truth. And so I'm just like, my videos, I'm just saying like, hey guys, this works, you should try it. Like, it really works. And I'm saying, hey, this is the truth. The Eastern Orthodox Church is the church. It is like, that dogma is true. That dogma is true. It forms a mountain. Right? So I'm flashing that not as like a Christian, but as a, like, duh, let's move on. I'd rather talk about something else. We don't even have to argue about that. You don't have to talk about Christianity or any of that stuff. I don't care. But I'm displaying, here's the right answer. Here's the correct answer. I am theologically as intelligent as the smartest theologians on earth in that, Allah, what's the right answer? Here is the Eastern Orthodox Church. End of question. I am a theological genius. I am, by speaking that, I am greater than any theologian on earth, just by being the most recent person to speak it. Right? Check this out. I'm the greatest theologian on earth. Go check out the Eastern Orthodox Church. I just surmised every sutra, every somology, everything. Right? So I'm not flashing this as a Christian. I'm flashing this as like, I'm just saying I'm a scientist and a philosopher. I have all the right answers because of how I've learned to work with water. Sorry, I was like making a YouTube short right there. Like, oh, let's get this clip. That was at like 13:13. So that's what's happening. And I can't get anybody, I can't even do it anymore. I haven't done it in like so long. I'm so nihilistic at the moment. Like, I've had this answer for whatever. I have a blast. Like, I went to, like, you can only see so much, right? I did this for so long, like 10 decades. So now I'm more into skateboarding and like hanging from my neck, but there's just some stuff that you can't. Yeah, the only reason I'm not doing this more is because like I lack companionship, motivation in it. Like, there's no, I don't have time. Like, there's, that stuff is super important. That's what I'm saying in all the videos. There's so much stuff outside of this one particular thing, but this one particular thing like is the gimmick. If you would go the why, the what, and the how, I would say it's this underwater breathing pressure thing, because you could make tanks with if you just make a long tank, lay in it and breathe, and as you breathe just through a short snorkel, if you're afraid of the long ones, that's a healing tank. while you breathe in there, your breath is more perfect than you could ever do on your own. Even myself, I go in and it's like, oh my gosh. It like shakes you awake in a mild degree. It's not a psychedelic. It's just like, oh, I gotta wash my car every morning. What's the difference between washing it by hand and washing it with a rag? It's like, it's that sort of epiphany. And like it's water, right? So it's adaptable, it's fluidic, it can take any shape. So the type of tools and the techniques and the way you can interact with it are sort of infinite. So you'll see different stuff every single day. It's just like reality. It's the substrate of reality, right? You're sitting, floating, immersed in the substrate of reality, and then people are pretending that's not going to have like cosmic consequences. Right, everything holding the metabolism is water. Right, so if you're sitting here breathing under your own volition through a snorkel, not being inflated by a regulator or by pressure, and not holding your breath, but suspended in the medium through the snorkel, ironically, just a breathing tube, whatever, or even just your nostrils, right? But it just has to be chill and relaxed enough that you can pay attention to all this. It can just be not your nostrils, right? It also can be just sitting on the couch because your nostrils are up here and the rest of you is down here, so you're already breathing through enough of a snorkel to notice everything that I'm talking about, right? You can already notice everything that I'm talking about, and people have, and I'm not trying to influence or say anything new in that regard, because I would only say what has already been said before. I'm not going to dig a deeper hole just because I invented a shovel. I'm not going to kill the problem even more just because I invented a sword. You know, if you see the Buddha cut off his head, well, if you have no sword, what are you going to do that with? Right? So the traditional method would be to rip a Buddha's head off with your bare hands and gnaw through it. Like tendon by tendon by tendon until you get to the bone, and you sort of snap it and just throw the thing away. And you have to gnaw through all of that, right? Like the lymph and the nerves and the blood vessels, and they're all in your teeth. And so the sword is increasingly noble and less savage because it's just clean right through, none of that like disgusting horror movie stuff. It's made nice and neat and clean, and it's elevated. The sword, or even better yet, the electromagnetic warfare, just the microwaves. And the Buddha's head starts to just shrivel. Zero blood. Clean. Civilized, even. This isn't without consequence to the stability of the psyche, because it becomes more like fluidic and more like the more time you spend in water, the more time you will think and be like water. And if you're completely submerged in water, you will begin to breathe like water. The heavier parts of you will settle, the other parts will be above it, and all that'll just happen naturally, the same way that like a tuning forks, resonance, you just spend time in it. So if you're super out of whack in some way, I think this will heal and treat all chronic disease, because even if it doesn't directly, it will increase the personal clarity. It'll increase the clarity of the person doing it so that they will see the next step in their healing progression for sure. There's no way to avoid it without any teachings or anything like that. Like, is it weird? Yeah. Are you like in a tube with a snorkel or something like that? Yeah, but it allows anybody to access the heart, or where the meditation starts. It allows anybody to access where it starts, like so easily. And it's still pretty cool. It's like, even if you're good at swimming, this is like having fins. Right? It helps, the fins help the really bad swimmers probably more than they help the good swimmers, but it's still really cool for the good swimmers. And so I think this would radically increase everybody's ability, because it would just show you, it just kind of shows you where you're like damaged, and if you fix that, you level up into that next level. So I think people that if you start young and progressive, like with the loading, I think you should have enough sensitivity to start pushing off of your inertia or your momentum, as if you're skating, but while you're in the air. I would imagine, my body and my frame is like so broken that if I do anything too crazy, it hurts. So I'm stuck with relatively like normal whatever. Which is still pretty, I don't know, I feel pretty good. I feel better than I did when I was in like I went out and swam, and I have more cardio than I did when I was like a swimmer, and I don't train, I don't practice, I don't do any of that. Like I don't do anything. Like I just work and take care of my kids, and I make videos on the side, and then every single exercise session that I do, I think I film it, so it's completely distracted. So just everything that I'm showing is simply from this sight or this vision or this whatever, from working with water. And it kind of does what I'm talking about, but it probably goes deep pretty quick. It's probably intense. Like I think it would be one of those. I don't know how to offer it. It's like, oh, this could be like you did, if you did this stuff for like a week without. I don't even know, because I discovered this kind of progressively, sequentially. So I went like really slow and had to stumble around and invent the thing. Like I drowned myself and invented this to see if I could still work on balance in the shallow end and not have to like hold my breath and drown. Because I held my breath for too long in the pool and I drowned. And I was like, oh, well, what would keep me from drowning? And I was like, a hose. So I did the hose thing, and I was like, wow, just with a dive brick on the edge. And then I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like the pressure was really interesting. So I tied it to a ring floaty so I could move around, and I was just breathing through a hose with a nose plug. And the pressure was super fascinating because the direction that it made the muscles pull was outwards. Right? Like the lungs had to be pulled out. And that was the only thing you could really ground on in the water. So it's like all the pressure was pushing in, and then the muscles would have to pull the lungs, have to expand them out, the diaphragm, and then everything. Like muscles up here that you would never imagine. So you just instant illumination of breathing, because the water pressure is kind of pressing on the breath, because the breath is going in and out, so the water pressure is pressing on that, and since it's pressing on it, you can feel it more, just like somebody pressing on your skin. So the awareness of the breath goes up as if you're wearing a pressure suit. And it's totalizing in every direction. If you're in over your head, then the water pressure is, so the pressure suit is on like all the breath equally. So it gives you like a very uniform thing to kind of expand out into. And again, people do this just on the cushion, and I think some people can do it really well, but being in water makes it impossible to not do it right. just like holding a bat makes it impossible to not hit hard. The reason that you hit hard with a bat is the same reason that you hit hard with your hand. But when you have the bat, it just makes it possible for you to do all those principles really easily and reliably, so anybody can hit hard. And then there's a whole realm of it that's gonna be like riding a bicycle or surfing, to where it's like you can do things that would seem counterintuitive if you can stay on a wave or stay in balance, right? With a wheel, if you can stay on a wheel, you can roll or flow. Like if you can stay in the right space on a wheel, you can flow on land. So there's a point of non-physicality almost, where if you're on it, like imagine yourself running backwards, I guess, on a giant wheel. So the wheel's gonna go forward, and if you stay right where you're running on the wheel, there is like electrical or fluidic energy, like at the point of that rotation, at the point of the gearing between the wheel and something else, is where something else would roll, right? Where something else would ride the wheel, right? The point where a surfboard would surf versus not surf, whatever that energy is that's propelling the board, that's like already there. Yeah, it's like a surfboard's there and it's not doing anything, and then the instant the surfboard catches a wave, from like where exactly is that energy stored? And it's like the entire ocean, and the surfboard just caught the frequency. Which is done just by, as the wave goes by, if you tip the board just has to catch the angle of the wave. So you don't have to paddle. The board just has to match the angle of the wave along with the rider's weight, and then that's a frequency, or that's a weight. You're doing a fraction of a wavelength basically with the board. And so the angle of your center of gravity, if it matches the angle of the center of gravity of the wave, then you've caught the wave. So that lets somebody just be sitting there with the board, no paddle catch. They just change the angle of the board, and it goes almost like you're grabbing a bus. So there's a whole realm of skill to that. And again, the scary thing is that there's a lot of people out there that like know this stuff by other means. There are ways to apply as much pressure as I'm talking about, like as your bathtub or as like a tub or a pool. There's other ways to apply pressures like that, sometimes even more pressures. And those pressures also sort of press on the person's breath and initiate them into a new type of being. But like I was saying, a lot of them are crazy or more expensive or riskier. And so there are tools out there that are this powerful, but this is a super low tech, super mass available tool that I think would collapse the pharmaceutical establishment. It would collapse healthcare, physical therapy, like a lot of PE, a lot of exercise science, a lot of medicine, because it would give a lot of people who are blind to this sort of thing practical like scientific, repeatable, understandable like lens or tool by which to understand perception altering techniques. And what does it mean to that somebody is like meditatively advanced? Like, what does that mean? You could go, well, here it's like this, and you could show them. Basically, if you're interested in somebody's like state of consciousness in that sense, you can replicate it in water almost universally. Yeah, it's a super interesting tool, and so I'm just trying to popularize just anything. Anybody, give me $1 billion, give me $1 million. I'm pretty sure I'm immune to wealth and fame at this point, for the most part. I mean, it's as in I don't really want any of it, so I will absolutely like deflect it, hide. We can play a game with it, like right, but like. I will put frontmen in front of me. I will shoot the money over to other things. I don't want any of it. So if you want, like, I just want to turn it all into hoses, hose centers, hose tanks, hose tech. I've just been gluing tube together and mask, and it's really primitive and it's hard. There's definitely better ways to do it. You could probably do whatever. The real benefit comes from that fluid pressure. There's a lot of benefit in the water flowing. So in a river, right? So there's different techniques of suspending oneself in a current of water. You could even grab onto a stick that's twirling around in a center, right? So being dragged or having water move over you is extremely therapeutic in a lot of ways. All simultaneously like instructive. Like it's hard to not have a radical paradigm shift in awareness after doing it one or two times. It's intense. It's every time. And yeah, like I said, I'm in the downward slope. Like my life force was like already spent by the time I discovered this thing. So I'm really interested in like somebody with a little, it's not injured and just tired, and then try that. And I think we could fly. I think people could probably fly. I think I could fly if I just wasn't so like stressed and distracted. So if somebody could go, oh, Master Kurt, please go into your cave of silence and do the thing that you're putting off because you're on Twitter all the time. Like, I'm just like, if somebody just took the phone away from me, I could probably fly. It's just more of the same. It's just super quiet. I have a pool. You give me like 3 to 6 months. No social media, but I could probably float. But if I can't, I'm sure somebody could. Like if somebody wants it, I think we're sitting on a gold mine at the high end of the athletic spectrum. Like if you're an amazing athlete and you haven't done this, there's a whole tier of ability that will open up after doing. You don't have to do it forever. Just like a week, like if you treated it like a retreat or what have you. The avenues and the insights that this would give you into your breathing would open up a whole new tier of training. Just like anything, right? But just like reliably, it's there. If you haven't done it, it will do that. Like, so no matter what the level is, it's kind of interesting, I think. And I don't know what the upper level would be if you were really obsessively like still in something. Like if you had drive. Like I think my testosterone is probably around 200. I just don't have it, boys. I'm tired. But if somebody had the drive that I did in my 20s, like holy shit. Right? So either we need to time travel. And I need to do it all over again, but correctly, or we need to find some like the chosen one, you know, and get them to do it, or be able to see it, right? There's probably like some wave somewhere that's invisible, and I think somebody with like enough psychic sensitivity should be able to like start seeing the medium that we're in, and maybe everyone would just start like floating, or we could exist in water, right? Or if everyone was like in this like meditative state of awareness suddenly, like that would be like an interesting type of flood that would be brought about by finding the chosen one. But also just deflect. No, it's not a cult. I'm not starting a cult. Like I said, if you are interested in spirituality or religion or the ultimate salvation and direction of your human soul, please see your local Eastern Orthodox church. But if you are interested in like being the best high school athlete ever, the best pickleball star ever, the best juggler, I think this is a super cool thing. And if you're like, I don't know what's happening, then somebody build the long tub. Or if you ever wanted to learn how to meditate, just a nice super long bathtub that you can lay down in and sort of breathe underwater, or just let your awareness settle in your own body and just sort of stick your nose up over that. And then there's another snorkel. But if you're under 2-3 feet of pressure, it's a lot of pressure, and that pressure is silence, and so it actually does quiet the breath down. And it's just it's tremendously helpful in the effort of silence. It'd be like it's like a musical instructor. If you're trying to hit a perfect C note, it helps if somebody is singing the perfect note of C right next to you and you can hear it, and then you can match it. And then water is the same thing for silence. Otherwise, it's difficult to teach silence. Like, it's super difficult. What am I going to do? Like, sit? How long am I going to sit in silence? Can I sit? Yes, you can stay inside. Yeah, the character has to get like so intense and so animated to be very deep in silence. It's just so much emotion. Can you? Oh, whoa! To be embodied is to be driven or to be trapped by these deep desires. Whoa. That agitation is the depth of that silence. Anyway, so most of the time when you're talking, like, okay, here, I'm back up in my head, it's like when I'm doing this type of crap, it's kind of like I'm sitting on a it's like I'm sitting on a ring floaty, right? Where that conversation's easy. Conversation's not easy when you're swimming, and it's like damn near impossible when you're underwater, unless you become like an emotional force of nature, right? So to actually embody that is like my voice will have to go up, my emotional intensity will have to go up, my character will have to go up because I'm big. Right? So if anything shallow comes into contact with a big wave, it starts to break. Right? So big waves need to stay deep. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. If it's crazy, just let me know in the comment section. Just tell me, hey, it's fucking nuts. Stop making videos. I hate you. Or just, whatever, things like that. But, and absolutely nobody actually do this and kill yourself. Like, slow, carefully, get coaching from me. If you're cheap, whatever, I don't care. Just nobody die. Because that looks bad. It super looks bad. You can drown in water, so just there's no pushing yourself. Shorter's the better. Test it. Go slow. No lightheadedness. No crazy shifts, like just spotters if possible. Hold on to a floaty ball maybe. And if you let go of that floaty ball, it means you're dead, right? Like if you want to do a stillness practice, like that's all kind of scary. So you want to hold a ball, right? For instance, if we want to go to deep, how do we know the difference between somebody who's underwater and dead and somebody who's underwater and right? So you hold a ball or something, or just be mindful, right? But you can get very still. And you're underwater, so it's a little scary. But whatever. But you don't even have to get that still. You really don't have to get that still. All you have to do is notice the environment of what I'm talking about is correct, and you can do it out of water just through your nose. And you can just use the water to realize the relationship or the dynamics of the out of the water through the nose. And then under the water through the nose, it's just like a lens. It's just like, oh, I get it. I get everything. To the degree that you can, right? Like it's like, oh, I get everything every single time, potentially. And then also not guaranteed. It's not a drug. It's not a trick. It's not a miracle. You do have to figure it out. Like you have to figure out how to read. You have to figure out how to paint. You have to figure out how to whatever. So it's not a drug in that it's like you're not going to do it and it's not going to just happen to you. But it will make it really easy for you to do it, but you have to choose to do it. So it does require self-awareness. Like a drug does not require self-awareness. So yeah, I guess if unself-aware people get a hold of it, probably abuse it or something. I don't know. It's my best shot for like what's better than what's happening would be I think this might make everything better. Like in a radical way, and it would be absurd to oppose it. Just stick to hosing. The other stuff is a different thing. I'm only saying that to like prove that I'm not afraid of deep truth, and that I am capable of being the greatest theologian on earth, which is the person who most recently says, check out the Eastern Orthodox Church. It is truth itself. That's the greatest thing anybody can ever say or do. Theologically, that is a correct statement. And then by being, just when I just said that, obviously, in the moment of saying that, you are the greatest theologian on earth. That is the greatest idea you can possibly have. Your mind is perfectly attuned. So I can do that. Right, and that also trumps all philosophy and stuff like that. And it's like the queen of sciences. And it's like a no duh. Like it's like people have to research and think and believe and faith and trust and all this stuff. And with the hosing thing, you can just see that it's true directly. I had already been doing this hosing thing for several years, and the absolute instant I saw the Orthodox Church, I saw in its entirety what it was, which was verified in the writings. But because of the hose thing, my vision or my nous was already actually pretty corrected. And so when I encountered the church, like literally the first time I stepped in the church, it was obviously a greater truth than anything that I'd ever done. Right? But I had already used water, which is its initiation compound, right? Water. But I'd already been doing that to actually shape the. I could see all of it. The theology was just confirming what I already saw. And so you can just like people have to think about and read and learn about something to know about it, or you could see it and know all that stuff at once, right? Somebody can write a story about a picture, And it can take you a certain amount of time to read that story, or you can see the situation directly. The water corrects the vision so that you can see the situation more directly. And that accounts for what in this blind world is like an infinite amount of intellectual information, even though it's just a sight of what's happening. And so, yeah, you would have to choose for that to happen, and you would have to work for it to happen. It might, your noose or your sight might be very, very clogged, right? And the water is just an aid in that cleansing. It can be a very powerful aid, like a hose is powerful in washing off a car, right? So whatever the work is, it'll make it easier, but it doesn't get rid of the need to work. And the insight is only in that, oh, wow, I'm so good at this work. But the insights and the epiphany and the vision doesn't come until the work is done. So this doesn't do anything in that sense. Like if you compare it to a drug, it happens during the act of the drug, which may or may not have lasting effects. Like the drug causes the clearing, whereas with this, it's just a tool that you do the clearing. So if there's something else blocking you from doing the clearing, that's going to be a problem. You need to address that, but it can help you address that as well. Like all my problems aren't from a lack of like intellectual knowing. It's just a lack of like, isolation or something. I'm pretty sure I'm right about all this. So it's like weird, like you talk to anybody, so what are you up to? I'm like, oh yeah, I just, I think I discovered this thing that seems to blah, 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 blah. And they're like, that's great. Okay. And I'm like, am I supposed to pretend otherwise? Am I supposed to pretend it's done something else, I guess? I don't know. I'm not, I don't know. And yeah, it's not even that different, but it is unique. No one else is doing. It's just so it's like the wheel. It's like an activity on the level of the wheel. Is it somewhere else? Is it so? It's like it's so insanely practical and useful across multiple fields and disciplines, and I don't know about it. And it makes me like I'm good at my job. I can think and do stuff and trade. Like I'm pretty athletic. I'm decently healthy. I can do trades. I'm not easily brainwashable.